Hey guys, look what I got. That's right, I got the new E-flite UMX A-10 Warthog. I'm going to quit talking, we're going to open up the box, and we're going to see what's going on inside. Alright guys, here's what we've got going on inside the box. As you can see, all there is in the box is the plane. Comes with a little Velcro here too, little spare Velcro. But other than that, it's just the plane. No batteries, no charger. You have to supply both of those items yourself. Alright guys, this is what it looks like outside of the box. It is beautiful. Beautifully fugly, just like the real one. I've seen one of these fly in person, and most recently at the 2016 Abbotsford Air Show, saw one in person, talked to the pilot. Yeah, this thing is cool. I definitely love A-10 Warthogs. They're extremely impressive with what they can do. And this one is a very nice scale version. Now, there are a couple things that I noticed that I'm not a fan of. It's not quite as bad as my last few UMX planes, but it's got quite a few little dents and dings, just like always. This foam is really not good for that. You got some denting there. Those aren't scale lines, unfortunately. Got some denting there. And the other thing, and it's already been pretty well documented so far, is this front landing gear. I am barely putting any pressure at all on it, and it just feels like it could snap at any time. Now the difference between the front and the rear landing gear is this is rock solid. This feels like I could hold a pound weight on it and it wouldn't be a problem. So I'm gonna try and land more or less high alpha. That way I don't put much stress on this, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. There are replacement parts available if I have to replace it. This thing is a beauty, so if I have to replace something, that will be well worth the cost. Alright, so now let's take a look inside the hatch. It's a magnetic hatch. It actually has a nice secure feel to it, so that is very good. One of the negatives is these walls are quite thin, so you may want to use some carbon fiber reinforcement. And let's see if we can take a look back in there at some of the guts. See if the zoom will help us out in this situation. Of course, right there front and center, you can see that is the connector that you use for the batteries. And we're going to talk about the batteries here shortly, but that is a look at the innards, the servos, and the board there. Another thing I wanted to point out is that if you don't have the battery in the battery bay, when you set it down on the ground, it is going to do a little wheelie there. So unless you're setting it down on very forgiving terrain, make sure to have a battery in the battery bay. That way you protect your plane. Alright guys, so we're going to take a look at the battery options right now. This first one is the recommended battery by the manufacturer. Of course, this jet's made by E-flite, so the battery that they want to sell is E-flite. So that's one option. Another option is an 850 Hyperion. It is a 50C Babel bat. I'm going to have a link in the description so you can check it out. And coming up next, we are going to move the control surfaces, and we are going to let this little jet rip a little bit. We're going to hear those twin fans do their thing. Alright guys, now we're going to take a look at the control surfaces moving. And of course, we have everything set to 70% dual rates and 30% expo on everything. So, for ailerons, that's what the movement looks like. Pretty darn good movement even for 70%. I'm going to switch that to 100%. Tons of throw available on this thing. So those of you that like a lot of throw, this is going to be a great model for you. Basically, you can tailor to however you want to fly it, just like anything else. Not everything has quite as much throw as that, and this is definitely has potential to be a high performer. Alright, so now we're going to look at the rudders right here in the front. Definitely has decent throw even for 70%. So I'm going to switch that to high rates. Oh yeah, lots of throw. Lots to work with there. I like to keep things at 70-30 at least on the maiden flights, and then I adjust from there. So now let's look at the elevator. This is on 70%. It's on 100%. Alright, so there we go. Now we're going to listen to these fans do their thing. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. I really don't want it to run away and smash into my headboard, so let's listen to these things sing. Alright, that was 15%. I am going to hold on to this thing and I'm going to turn them up a little bit. That was up to 57%, and I was definitely feeling a lot of pull on that. And next we're going to do a quick size comparison with a couple other UMX models. That way it'll give you an idea of the size of this thing. Here is a size comparison with the B-25. This is the original UMX Habu. This is the UMX MIG-15. This is the new 2S UMX P-51 Mustang. This is the UMX P-47. And finally, this is the comparison with the A-10 and the UMX J-3 Cub. Here is another angle to compare the wingspans. One is definitely wider and one is longer. That's tail to tail. And that is nose to nose. So you can definitely see the A-10 is much longer and not quite as wide as the J3, as you'd expect, of course. Up next are my review notes. Alright guys, we're going to do a quick pros and cons and wrap this thing up. First pro is it looks incredibly scale. For something this small, all this detail, and at this price, it's pretty amazing, I have to say. Look at that front. That is an A-10, and you've got the twin fans back there. That is awesome. In addition to the twin fans, we've got nice dual rudders in the back. Not all EDFs have that, so that is very good for channel control. I love it. It's also got the top-mounted battery hatch with strong magnets. It fits really well. And the canopy also looks pretty good. The pilot is sitting vertically. It's not off-center like some of my most recent pilots have been, so that's good. As far as the cons go, it's pretty tough to hide that front landing gear. Look how cattywampus that thing is. I haven't even landed with it yet, and it's already kind of weird. It is extremely weak. So I have a feeling I'm going to have to replace a bunch of those. I don't really plan on belly landing it because when you pop off the battery hatch here, you see that this foam is really thin. So I'm not really wanting to belly land because of that. We'll see. Maybe I'll add some carbon fiber in there. I don't know. We don't know what the future holds for us, but that is definitely something I wanted to touch on. And of course, we've got our customary foam dents there. And last but not least, you got that really smelly, toxic smelling UMX foam that comes with these things. Alright, that wraps things up. Like, comment, and subscribe. GB Linden, out.